Um, in terms of the funny business of politics, we're screening the 70th anniversary of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And this was at the heart of my programming when I first came here in early June. I had seen that 20 years ago for the 50th anniversary, and this is the golden year of cinema right now, 1939 to 2009, 70 years that we're celebrating. I was wondering, how could we weave Mr. Smith Goes to Washington back into the festival? Jimmy Stewart, my favorite actor. Jimmy Stewart was here 20 years ago, and I thought there's got to be some way we can take a look at the politics, the election, insider, outsider, and I happened to pick up the Sunday Washington Post and looked at the magazine. And on the front cover was an article and a photo of Jimmy Stewart surrounded by President Ronald Reagan, Sarah Palin, and President Barack Obama, and an article by Liza Munday talking about the historic anniversary of the film and the insider-outsider status of various politicians over the years and how they've positioned themselves, and was it actually true? And I thought, wow, this is a fascinating topic. I got into the office on Monday, I picked up the phone, I called the Washington Post, I got Liza Munday on the phone, who lo and behold is a UVA graduate. And I thought, great, we're going to schedule this film, would you chair a panel? She's coming in, and we have Candy Crowley from CNN joining that panel, Professor Sabato here from the UVA that's joining that panel as well, too. So those are some of the big headlines that we have during the festival, but I'd like to take a moment here just to sort of take you day by day. Again, I mentioned the political sidebars that we have, and there's several other films, but to that end, we're going to open this year's festival with a film called Marching Band. It's a documentary, it premiered at the Cannes Festival last year, and this would be the U.S. premiere of the film. Interestingly enough, this film was brought to me by the Virginia Film Office. I had no idea what I was going to see, except I kind of figured it was about a marching band. And I started to watch the film, and it really kind of takes a very special, unique look at the marching Cavaliers here from the University of Virginia and the Virginia State University marching Trojans. And it features several students and the band leaders, and this is all wrapped around the election last year of President Barack Obama. It's a fascinating look at a bunch of really passionate students that got excited and caught up in their first presidential election, and one that turned out to be historic in so many ways. And for me, it just proved to be the right opening night film. It's a beautiful film. It's a love letter to the University of Virginia and Virginia State University, and more than anything, it shines a spotlight on these students in such a positive way that it's inspiring. And they're in the tie-in to marching band, because marching bands are inspirational and about energy, passion, and commitment, and that's why we're screening and opening with that film. And interestingly enough, just 2 weeks ago, and I had to skip a day into Saturday, 2 days into Saturday, I received a documentary called Lockdown, Massive Resistance. And I thought to myself, gosh, that's topical. What's this? Let me take a look at this film. And I looked at the film, and it turns out that this is a film that Professor Sabato worked on. It's help me out here, it's a community.
It's a group produced by WHTJ, PBS, and the Center for Politics in Media.
Thank you. Too much for me to handle in one sentence. And it's a wonderful film, and obviously being so much in the news these days, I thought this was such an important topic, a topic anywhere that you want to look at, but particularly because of the history here in Virginia. I myself was surprised to learn this history when I moved here, so it was fascinating to me, and to get this film was truly a gift. There's a remarkable panel that's going to join that. It was headed up by Professor Sabato, but also former Governor Doug Wilder will be on that panel, and several of the original students that were locked out 50 years ago. And here's why, if you're interested in my arc of programming from an artistic standpoint, the reason why this film resonates with me and why it's so important is that it creates a journey. We have a journey of 50 years where students, African-American students, were locked out of our school system, and 50 years later, we're opening the Virginia Film Festival with a film that talks about the election of our first African-American president, with a wonderful mix of students, both black and white, that are featured in this film that are obviously well into the system, the school system. And to me, that's a perfect artistic arc, and it's great to see that we've had a journey. And I think that that's always important to celebrate when we've had a journey, and hopefully a positive journey. So that's one of the things that we're highlighting here at the festival. On opening night, immediately following Marching Band, it's not the opening night film, but it's a showcase film that we're going to screen at 10 o'clock. It's Tenure, along with the 48-hour Richmond winning short, Neighborhood Watch, which we reviewed just before that, which is a wonderful film. But Tenure, perfect for funny business, as you would guess. It is about a college professor chasing that all-elusive tenure at several sort of third-tier colleges. It stars Luke Wilson and Gretchen Mol. It's a wonderful, very lighthearted comedy. It's a wonderful film, and we're going to be screening that later on that night. Pardon me, directed by a UVA grad, Mike Millian. Thank you very much. Thanks for helping me out there. And immediately following will be our opening night gala, which will actually immediately following the opening night film, Marching Band, will be the gala, and that's at John Paul Jones Arena this year. And again, we're opening up the gates. We're in John Paul Jones Arena. We can make that as big or as small as we need to be. We really want community members to come to that, to celebrate this film festival and to be a part of it. So that's another thing that you're going to hear, is that I so want to make this festival accessible to everyone in the community. One other thing, the marching band will be participating in the opening night outside the Culver Theater, performing, and there's an invitation. That's the University of Virginia Marching Band, and there's an invitation out to the Virginia State University Marching Band to come in and perform as well, sort of like a drum-off or something to that effect, for maybe 15, 20 minutes outside before we start the film. And obviously, band members and the band directors who are featured in both films will be doing the Q&A immediately following that. I'd like to shift over to Friday, and I want to talk a little bit about our outreach and education program headed up by Jane Freeman here behind us. She's done a phenomenal job, and for me it was a goal to reach out in the community and provide as much educational opportunities as possible for students. And to that end, that morning we're screening Mr. Smith Goes to Washington at 10 a.m. And that particular panel will have Candy Crowley and Liza Monday on it, and approximately 500 Charlottesville high school students are coming in. They'll be bussed in and are going to watch that film and then listen to the panel discussion and do a Q&A with Candy Crowley and Liza Monday. And of course, that's been part of their studying over the last month or so. So, you know, this is important. I think it's curriculum driven, and it's a film that we work with schools to select as well. So I'm excited about that opportunity. Very quickly, that day as well, we're also going to be screening Wall Street. And I have not yet finalized the panel for that, but we're going to be taking a look at the financial meltdown that's occurred here in this country in the last 18 years, and take a look at that, 18 months, excuse me, and take a look at that film and hopefully learn a little bit from what happened earlier and where we are today. And obviously one of the overriding themes of that film is greed. We're also screening Jewisson's Russians Are Coming that day, and it's the 20th anniversary of Do the Right Thing. And we're going to be screening that day. Once again, this ties into race, to politics, and an overriding theme in the festival. And interestingly enough, Do the Right Thing, on top of being a sort of a historic film in the way that deals with race, is also a very important film in the independent film movement. And we are screening several films that kind of chronicle that 20 years of independent film since Sex, Lies, and Videotape. In fact, we'll be screening that along with Pulp Fiction and Do the Right Thing and a couple of other films. And we pulled together a panel of some heavyweights in the independent film world, including our own Ron Yerxa, who was the producer of Cold Mountain and Election, who will be in, and on our advisory board, Peter Biskin, who is a renowned author, Bingham Ray, who's the founder of October Films, which was a pioneer in the independent film movement, and it's moderated by Harry Schaubner, and they're going to be discussing the independent film, where's it been, where's it going, and taking a look at all four of these films right immediately following the Do the Right Thing panel.